Oh, baby, happy Monday. I'm the Prop Queen Ariel Epstein. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in on this fabulous Monday. Last night was awesome. The New York Yankees take 2 of 3 from the New York Mets. I don't love being a homer, but I've gotten so much crap from Mets fans the last 6 months since Juan Soto went to Queens. So I am going to relish in this moment between the Knicks and the Yankees. I'm a very happy person. I'm also going to be happy when we have on great guests today. Mid-Major Matt going to talk about some Major League Baseball props coming up in 10 minutes. My good friend James Young from Sports Grid. He's been on the show before, former basketball coach in college hoops. He does a lot of great analysis. We're going to talk WNBA. He knows how to find the edges in that market. A lot of you are asking about the WNBA, which started last week. James Young has some plays for tonight's game. Also going to talk a little bit about what we could expect coming up in the NBA Conference Finals. We've got the Western Conference Finals tomorrow, Eastern Conference Finals starting on Wednesday. It's a great time of year in sports. Hockey, Stanley Cup playoffs, that will resume this week as well. Just Major League Baseball and WNBA really tonight. So we will make sure to cover what you need to know for tonight's slate. Throughout the rest of the week, we'll also have some guests to help us out. The Subway Series. Not only was the Subway Series filled with all of the hype that we thought it would with the return of Juan Soto to the Bronx, we're now getting the ripple effect today of everything that happened over the weekend. I'm sorry for anyone that really doesn't care, but I need to talk about this and get this off my chest. Apparently, Juan Soto's miserable in Queens. According to some sources in New York media, the Mets are concerned about Juan Soto not being as excited to play. Apparently, right before the game, Juan Soto yesterday was supposed to be mic'd up for ESPN. Then Buster Olney said he was going to ask him about Aaron Judge. Juan Soto decided right before the game, he wasn't going to be mic'd up anymore. At this rate, I get it. Soto's probably a little annoyed about being asked about the Yankees, why he left, why he went to the Mets, about Aaron Judge, yada, yada. Suck it up. Just say that you love being with the Mets. He can't say it. You don't really hear him say, a reason for choosing the Mets because he can't say it's for the money. According to Yankees play-by-play announcer Michael Kay, Soto wanted to stay with the Yankees. Soto's family is the reason that he wanted to go to the Mets. Look at this. Nope, that wasn't. Nope, sorry, my bad. Apparently, I keep saying apparently. This was the one from John Boy that tweeted out that the Mets hierarchy is concerned about Juan Soto's lack of enthusiasm. This was all about the mic'd up problem. Then Michael Kay said today, I guess on his radio show, that people that he knows say that Juan Soto wanted to stay a Yankee, but his family wanted him to be a Met, so he chose the Mets. Here's my problem. My family's told me to do a lot of things. It's taken me my 30 years to realize that sometimes you know what's best for you. Your family, they may always have your best interests at heart, but sometimes you just know that you need to make a decision for you. Why did his family want him to go to the Mets? Because they wanted him to be the superstar? I'm just not buying this whole Juan Soto just isn't happy with the team anymore thing. Juan Soto has left every team that he has ever been a part of. He left the Nationals, he left the Padres, he left the Yankees, and now he's with the Mets. He's not running out plays at first. He's not running out the home run went right over his head last night, which was hilarious, but he's not the greatest fielder. We know that, but he doesn't hustle out of the box. That was a concern for a lot of people yesterday. Juan Soto clearly looked unhappy, didn't even embrace the whole, Yankees fans, Yankees are booing me. He looked miserable. If you're happy with your team, you're standing there, I made a good decision. Leaving an X, right? If you leave an X for someone else and that next person makes you really happy, you don't look back at the old X and get sad about it or emotional, leave the locker room, don't talk to the press after the game. You stand your power. You say, I'm really happy here. That's it. Instead, he left, walked out of the building, didn't want to answer any questions. If I leave somebody and go to the next person and I'm really happy in the next relationship, then I stand there and take it because I'm happy. He's not happy. Juan Soto went to the next shiny thing. Juan Soto went to the money. And guess what? It burned him. The Mets are still playing fine. It's not like he's on the Orioles. He's not on the Rockies. Juan Soto's on the Mets. They're leading the division season. Why is he so unhappy? Ridiculous. I'm just so done with this whole drama thing. I don't care. You know what I felt the worst for yesterday? Pete Alonso. I felt horrible that the Mets first baseman, who has been loyal to his team, his own team that he's been loyal to, went for Juan Soto before they even cared to give him a contract. He overthrew home plate yesterday, and that's what started the Yankees rally in the 8th inning. I felt bad for Juan Soto. For Pete Alonso, not Juan Soto. Yankees fans are mad. Because if you watched Juan Soto since his rookie season, like I have, I've watched Juan Soto's entire career. Juan Soto was fun to watch as a national, went to San Diego. Supposedly it was toxic culture over in San Diego. They didn't like how he was in the locker room. Then Juan Soto goes to the Yankees. Juan Soto was really happy there. There was nothing as a critical Yankees fan that I could say was wrong with Juan Soto last year. He looks like he was having fun. He was doing the Soto shuffle. Everyone's asking where the Soto shuffle is. Where is it? Does he not care? Does he not want to bring that energy? There's a lot of weird things going on over there. Sometimes money doesn't buy you happiness. And I love saying that it does because I think money can. But once you hit a certain number, like, come on. Whether it was the Yankees or the Mets, he had enough money. He was going to be happy. Get over it, Yankees fans. Would you really want Soto with his stats? No, so here's my point. I'm not angry or bitter towards Juan Soto leaving. I'm just talking about what all the headlines are today, which is that Juan Soto is miserable in Queens. I'm telling you that I don't care because Juan Soto has left every team he's ever played for, and Juan Soto now is being a diva. So I don't care. In fact, this is what makes Yankees fans happy. And the only person that's missing from this is Paul Goldschmidt because the Yankees end up signing Cody Bellinger, Max Fried, Devin Williams, and Paul Goldschmidt because they gave up Juan Soto to the Mets. And Juan Soto's making a ton of money this year, and the Yankees have more depth than they did last season. The only thing the Yankees need now is a 1 or a 2. They need another pitcher, a starter. I know Luis Gil comes back, but I really want a 1 or a 2 vet. Williams has pitched now 2 good outings out of the pen. Bellinger with the grand slam yesterday. Paul Goldschmidt keeps the Yankees in the game. Max Fried's thrown like an ace. The Yankees look great. Sure. Again, just another number 1 or a number 2. The headline should be how bad Volpe is. Okay, whatever. No, the headline's going to be in the positive spin, which is that the Yankees had some key players who they wouldn't have had if Juan Soto stayed in New York. Stayed with the Bronx Bombers. They wouldn't have had these players. And those are the players that ended up beating Juan Soto and the Mets yesterday. Apparently, the Yankees were in the locker room. I Run New York by 50 Cent blasting. You know why it matters to Yankees fans? Yankees fans don't want to lose the crown. I was dreading the Yankees playing the Mets last year in the World Series. I did not want that. I knew the Yankees were losing the World Series last year. Ask anybody. I said there's no way this team deserves to even be in it, but the AL's so down. The Yankees were going to lose to whoever won the National League. I'm glad it was the Dodgers because I'd rather be like, the Dodgers tell us who's your daddy than the Mets. Yankees fans do not want to lose the crown of New York. Last year, they looked terrible in the Subway Series, but then last laugh was like the Yankees had the last laugh because they went to the World Series. And yes, they're better off without him. So that's my little rant on the Subway Series. It was a lot of fun to watch. And before I bring Mid-Major Matt on, I did want to give Nike a shout out because this was freaking hilarious yesterday. After Scottie Scheffler ended up winning the PGA Championship, it was best player in the world, ? Guilty. And for anyone who doesn't catch on to this, obviously Scottie Scheffler was arrested last year. So for literally just trying to do his job and getting to his tournament. So that was silly. But I just thought Nike did a really good job in promoting that. But okay, we're going to go back to baseball because Mid-Major Matt's about to come on the show. We're going to talk some MLB props for tonight as my makeup's stripping because I was clearly getting a little too emotional over the Subway Series yesterday. Matt knows a thing or two about my passion for the Yankees and some good rivalries. So let's bring him on. Happy Monday, Mid-Major Matt.
I'm just looking up Mick Gable, Rookie of the Year and Cy Young odds. That's just what I'm doing today.
Oh, why?
You didn't see the guy? I mean, look, what's her name? Livy Dunn, clearly with the wrong pitcher from yesterday's game between the Phillies and the Pirates, because Mick Gable is going to be the next big thing in the sport after he dominated the Pirates yesterday for 6 innings.
Oh my goodness. It sounds like you are a little bit of a homer right now.
Yeah, I'm 100% a homer. I mean, I'll admit it. I mean, look, I still have money on the Braves winning this division, but that doesn't mean I can't enjoy that the Phillies are playing well right now.
The Phillies are going to Colorado today, so you must be pretty good about. You must be feeling pretty good about that.
Well, so here's the funny thing, and I'm sure because you also look at the same thing I do. There's a lot of Phillies that have bad histories against Kyle Freeland, which makes no sense because I'm pretty sure you and I could get hits off Kyle Freeland, but there's a lot of
Coors, especially.
Exactly, and there's a lot of Phillies. Like Bryce Harper, I think doesn't have good history against him. Kyle Schwarber doesn't. So who knows? Maybe Freeland throws a gem tonight.
Speaking of potential upsets, how crazy was it that the Angels ended up sweeping the freaking Dodgers this weekend?
So did Shohei suit up for the Angels this weekend? Is that what happened? Like, did he magically forget which team he was on and he played?
They say it's rivalry weekend. It surely was. It's just that Juan Soto let his former team win and Shohei Ohtani let his former team win. How nice. Those are like the ugly stepchildren of their divisions.
Well, yeah, I get it. But like Phillies Pirates, what hasn't been a rivalry since the 70s. Like I get it.
They have the poop score bug.
Well, yeah, and CSN Philadelphia or NBC Sports Philadelphia did a nice little memoriam because they got rid of that. So yeah, it's the poop series, but I mean the poop is actually just the Pirates part of it. Like the Phillies aren't the poop.
I love that Shawn Michael too is talking about Jackson Jobe. Oh no, not that one. Jackson Jobe continues to cash for me and Matt.
Yeah, I mean, so here's the funny thing. So last night it was Jackson Jobe in Toronto against the Jays, and Saturday night when the line came up, it was 3.5 over -150, and I'm like, oh my god, I better get this over in now before it flips to 4.5. And then I wake up and everybody bet the under, and I'm like, oh god, did I get this wrong? But Jobe has been amazing for Detroit lately, and I feel like him and AJ Smith-Shawver are the two pitchers that these books have just not been able to figure out lately.
That's why we love anyone who's not a 1 or a 2, because you can always find some good value there. The Nationals also swept the Orioles this weekend, but how surprised were you on Friday when Saturday was when I went home. So Saturday, the Orioles fired their manager, Brandon Hyde.
Somebody has to take the fall. I mean, it's not his fault, and you can't fire Mike Elias because he's the one who messed things up. I tweeted on Sunday, I said, I never thought in 2025 I'd talk about Kyle Gibson and Charlie Morton in the same game. What is this, 2017 all over again? But like that kind of symbolizes what the Orioles did this offseason, which was essentially nothing.
Them in Milwaukee, the two of them, they're just like, they had so much potential. They blew it. The Orioles absolutely blew it. I thought for sure that this team had all the potential in the world to make another even World Series push with the experience that they now have. Chip on their shoulder, make it to the playoffs, keep getting banged out. This year, they literally just needed Corbin Burnes to come back and a solid number 2. And their pitching staff is all completely hurt. Grayson Rodriguez hurt. Everyone else is old. They thought they could groom Charlie Morton. They couldn't. It's a disaster. Mike Elias has 100% of the responsibility for this problem.
Yeah, not having Kyle Bradish or Albert Suarez or Zach Eflin was out for a little bit. Now, granted, he didn't look good yesterday, but yeah, they have a great core. And here's what's going to happen: they're going to pay the core, and they're not going to have any money for pitchers, and they're going to rely on minor league pitchers. And it's a bad situation that they should have spent some money. They should have kept Corbin Burnes or gotten somebody else. You could have gotten somebody in between Corbin Burnes and Charlie Morton. Like there's plenty of pitchers in between those two.
They should all look at the Phillies, who, when Aaron Nola is healthy, I mean, a great 1-2 punch with Wheeler and Nola, except one headline I didn't get to yet. One of your relievers, PEDs. What the hell?
Yeah, selfish. He says it was a weight loss drug, but like I feel like Major League Baseball has to have a hotline for everybody to call that if they're about to take a drug, you can find out if it's legal or not. And I feel
agree.
like It's laziness if you don't call that number, and he didn't hope he'd get caught. And him and Jerks and Profar and some of the other guys who get suspended, like, you could have very easily prevented this thing. By the way, let's get Nola's not anything. Like, Nola's the number 5 on this rotation. So, like, let's be honest. It's Wheeler, Sanchez, and Luzardo. And hell, even Taijuan Walker's pitched better than Aaron Nola. Aaron Nola's a 5 or a 6 in this rotation right now.
Fine right now for this year's numbers, but come on. He's still been the number 2 for this Phillies rotation.
He is a fake ace, and people who follow me on Twitter know I've been calling him.
He's not an ace. Zach Wheeler's your ace.
No, but he's getting paid like an ace, and at times they depend on him like an ace. He is a fake ace who has not come up large for the Phillies in years.
Sean Michael wants to know if you think the Phillies are going to finally trade Bohm for arms.
No, I think they're going to keep him. I think he's improving enough. I think they're going to, the start yesterday by Abel might have been an audition for somebody else, but like they've got Andrew Painter coming up too, and he's even better than Abel. And so I think they should potentially trade Ranger Suarez, or heck, Taijuan Walker has some value now. Maybe somebody will foolishly take Taijuan Walker off our hands and trade for him because he's pitched pretty well out of the bullpen for the Phillies lately.
Okay, let's make some people who are not major league pitchers some money. You've got a couple of plays tonight. Both of us didn't really love that much on this MLB card. So why are you going with the outs prop?
Yeah, so it was between the outs and the strikeouts, and we hate the Astros because the Astros never do anything that we want them to. They've been a frustrating team in the past. But if you look at the Astros lately in terms of how long these starting pitchers are going, if you look at the last series alone, Jack Leiter, who's not great, 7 innings. Tyler Mahle went 6. Eovaldi went 5 2/3. DeGrom went 8. Before that, Michael Lorenzen went 7 1/3. Michael Wacha went 6 1/3. Nick Martinez went 6 innings. So if you notice, that is a lot of right-handed starting pitchers who have gone 6 innings plus against Houston lately. Pepio is usually good for 6 innings. Now, occasionally the Rays take out their pitchers randomly because they're trying to preserve their arms. But Pepio is usually good for 6 innings. So I took a chance on the outs over instead of the strikeouts under for the Rays pitcher.
You said to me before, why don't you like Pepio under his case today? You thought it was a play I would like. I don't like when a team's averaging like 4.5 to 4.8 strikeouts a game. I just feel like that's limbo when you look at the strikeout prop spreadsheet. Well,
yeah, but they also is a 5.5 number. Now, Pepio's nasty and has gone over the 5.5 number several times this year. But the Astros lately have not been striking out as much. It's funny because they're going more to the over than the under. But as you said, they're only averaging 4.6 strikeouts per game against right-handed starting pitchers. So they've had a lot of low numbers clearly, or they've gone over their other numbers by just a little bit.
I just don't trust the Astros. They've been an under team for the last 2-3 years that we've been doing the spreadsheet. Majority of pitchers are going over, as you mentioned. I know that a 5.5 seems low based on how the Astros have been going recently. We haven't seen anyone. We've seen DeGrom had 7, and then Chad Patrick had 6. That was all in the last 10 games. So I don't know. I think your play on the over outs makes a lot more sense than going with the iffy strikeout number on Houston.
I mean, yeah. And the funny thing, we can't really compare DeGrom because DeGrom's back. DeGrom is nasty again. So 7 Ks, he's back to what he used to be.
Except I lost his under strikeout prop by 1. Oh, vomit.
I mean, I didn't understand that when you told me, but I said, she's.
What do you mean he only had 7? It was a 6.5. He had 7. He should have had 6.
I get it, but DeGrom is back to being nasty. And so
we can't fade DeGrom anymore.
He's always capable of that. He's always capable of the 7, 8, 9, 10 strikeouts now. And so I wouldn't take the under on him ever. I just, he's back to being nasty.
Okay. DeGrom unders off the list. I was a little shocked by you with Luis Castillo. We have agreed that we don't fade Castillo at home. He's on the road though. Why do you like his under 5.5 Ks?
So I just think it's a little too much. Castillo's not striking out as many guys. It is a road game. It is the White Sox. And here's the thing about the White Sox that I don't think, look, everybody looks at the White Sox that was the really bad team last year. But the White Sox are actually making more contact against righties than they did last year. They are 21 unders, 12 overs with a 4.69 strikeout average. I hit yesterday easily on the Ray under. That was 5.5, and he had 3. But if you look, 3, 2, 3, 8, 2.5. They're going under a lot, and Castillo's not going deep on the road in games, and it's going to be nasty weather-wise, and I don't think he's going to do great in that kind of weather. I just kind of like the under 5.5 here. The White Sox are better than people think, at least at contact versus righties. Lefties are still bad, but righties, I think there's some value here.
12 and 21 over under. That's crazy. 21 unders, 12 overs against the White Sox. That's where the value is, Matt. I tell people this all the time on the PropQueen.com newsletter. I say the value is with teams that people think are bad, that don't strike out a lot, teams that have lefty-righty splits that are drastic. Those are the ways to find the edge.
Well, yeah, and it's funny because, we could talk about Christopher Sanchez tonight, and Christopher Sanchez, everybody is betting on the over for Christopher Sanchez tonight, 5.5. Last year, he went under that number in Coors, and so far in 7 games in Coors, 4 unders, 3 overs for left-handers against this team. So look, at home, he could strike out 6 batters in the first 2 innings. On the road in Coors, not a guarantee. So a lot of people running to his over. The juice is very much to the over for Christopher Sanchez right now.
It's also concerning when you're just within 24 hours of traveling to Coors. It's a little different games 2 and 3, potentially of the 4 of the series. Game 1, they just traveled Philly from Philadelphia to Colorado yesterday after the game. I'm assuming they traveled yesterday. So they've had less than 24 hours to just adjust to the altitude in Denver. That's got to be really tough for a pitcher.
Yeah, it's got to be. It's one of those things where I'm surprised they don't send the pitcher ahead and just have him get ready and get used to the altitude beforehand. But these teams know all this stuff. They have all the analytics, so they probably don't need to do that sort of thing. But yeah, it's one of those things where he's either going to have 9 or he's going to have 4. So it's, I see
it's also the second time facing the Rockies. He faced the Rockies in his season debut this year, and you always give the advantage to the hitters the second time around. It's just this time it's the Rockies.
Well, yeah, and the only other thing is that was March 31st, so it's a long time. It's not like, I really wanted to play Fods over 4.5. Tonight, but it wasn't the last start. It was the start before that he faced the Dodgers once again. And that's always concerning for me, even with an LA team that's striking out a ton continuously. It feels like the Dodgers are going through one of these stretches where contact is just not as much of a thing for them right now.
I just can't believe that the Dodgers got swept. So anything that favors Arizona this week is scaring me. The Dodgers, that's an embarrassment to be swept by the Angels in your home state.
I mean, I guess, there's going to be bad stretches. There's going to be bad series for all these teams. I mean, I'm sure the 1927 Yankees probably had a bad series or two. And that, what year is that? The 93 Seattle Mariners or whatever team that won 120 games. I'm sure they had a bad stretch to their season too. You can't take all 162 games seriously. So I guess the Dodgers just didn't do it as much against the Angels.
Excuse me, sir. I'm taking this past weekend in New York very seriously.
I know. It's life and death for all the New Yorkers. I get it.
You have to stay at the top of the pedestal.
Congratulations. I get it. New York has 3 teams in the city in every sport, and you have to be better than the rest of them.
Especially, right. I mean, especially when you're so used to being on the top. If you are the Knicks, the Giants, the Yankees, it's a really hard thing to allow for the other teams to take over.
Do we believe now, because the Yankees are trending heavily to the under, do we believe in them now as a contact team, or is it just they're really hot and pitchers aren't staying around as long?
I never bet Yankees. I never do anything with strikeout props against them, except I think last year we had a pretty good trend of lefties against the Yankees, right? They were striking out a lot more against lefties.
Yes, 4.97 versus 4.68 last year.
And this year, is it the same? Let me look.
5.1.
Yeah, they're striking out more against lefties, but the book's kind of caught on.
I mean, I'm just saying they're on a very nice long under stretch for almost over a month now. So it's one of those things where do we take it seriously, or is it just they're beating up these teams so badly that these starting pitchers aren't lasting very long?
Well, I think there's also something to the Yankees being the Yankees. The same thing with the Dodgers. It's very sharp markets on them all the time. Nothing has changed significantly about the Yankees from last year, whereas the Dodgers, they're striking out more than they did. So the books are, of course, now adjusting to the fact that last year they didn't strike out that much. That's where you're getting those edges. The Yankees, I don't feel like it's been any big difference.
I would love to be in the room with the odds makers for these things to like find out. They're like, all right, they've got the same list of pitchers that we have. Like when they say, all right, well, what is Clayton Kershaw going to do tonight? What do they consider? I'd love to be in the room with like the DraftKings people who make the strikeout props, so I can kind of think along the same lines as they do, because a lot of times they have great numbers and they hit this thing within a half, but there
were a lot of great numbers today. I was really pissed when I was looking at the list. That rhymes. I was really upset though, because a lot of these numbers were extremely spot on. I'm trying to think of some that I was looking at. We were talking about Logan Allen before too. I was going to bring him up, but it looks like now the weather is still super iffy out there in Minnesota, but Logan Allen over 3.5 Ks. Logan Allen is almost in the same conversation as Nick Lodolo. These are two lefties that we keep getting numbers on that seem we've got to bet it. We have to take the over. Logan Allen's at 3.5 today. Again, all weather aside, you've lost some. I've lost some on Logan Allen this year. It's a pain.
Yeah, and Logan Allen's actually better on the road. If you look, he had 3 in Nats. That's the one I lost on because I had the Nats over the K-Prop over. He had 4 in Toronto, 5 in Pittsburgh, 6 in Baltimore. So like he's slightly better on the road, and 3.5 is such an easy number. It looks like, it's just like
against Minnesota.
Right, especially against Minnesota, who actually skews more against the lefties. 6.3 strikeouts per game in 6 games against lefties this season. But it's just when you have a pitcher that you can't seem to figure out, you stay as far away from them as you possibly can.
5 of the 6 Southpaws to face the Twins have gone over 3.5 strikeouts this year. Logan Allen's not that bad of a pitcher. He's gone over it in 4 of 6 against teams with high K rates against lefties. The only issue in this game for me is the weather.
Right, which it could be postponed, and then you get a double header, and you're like, well, we don't really play double headers. We run away from double headers. Makes me I never understand the person who gives out the second game props before the first game even happens. Like, how are you even doing that? Because the first game never even happened.
And a lot of the times I never even see those numbers posted. So I don't know where people find this stuff. But
FanDuel puts out game 2. DraftKings waits until after game 1 to put out game 2.
Sonny Gray's also pitching tonight. He's got Detroit. Detroit's been skewing more to unders, 20 unders, 13 overs against the Tigers. Sonny Gray is a pitcher, too, that's been a little difficult to figure out, Matt.
Yeah, and once again, weather. Our guy Kevin put this morning. He put in a thing that basically said this game won't finish, whether it's the 5th inning or the 7th inning. Now he's kind of softening a little bit and said that we might be able to get the game in tonight. So I mean, that's one of those things where I considered Sonny Gray. I considered Sonny Gray's under 2.5 earned runs, because if the game gets called early, maybe he gives up 1 or 2 runs. But he's had these really random, awful starts so far this season at times, and so like I can't trust the guy. He's got great stuff, but like, how do you give up, 6 runs at home to the Mets, 3 runs at home to the Brewers? Like, it's just Sonny Gray's a really good pitcher, but he has these random awful. He had 5 earned runs at home to the Angels back in April. Like, these are just bad outings at home.
I love how we already have a list of pitchers that we just can't trust. We have massive trust issues. Nick Lodolo, Logan Allen, Sonny Gray. Who else is on our do not touch list?
Max Fried.
Oh, yeah, Max Fried, dead to me. He's always a 5.5. Logan Webb, dead.
Yeah, I added him recently.
DeGrom unders, dead.
Yeah, Logan Webb likes to go 7 innings and then go like 5 strikeouts. And you sit there and you're like, I got 21 potential outs here. All I need is, 6 strikeouts, and somehow he ends up with 5. So, Logan Webb is on my list now, too.
Mid-Major Matt, check him out over on X at Mid-Major Matt. Check him out every time on Mondays and Fridays, 5:10 p.m. Eastern here on the Prop Queen Pod. We love you. Thank you. Good luck to your bets tonight, Matt.
All right. Talk to you tomorrow.
Make sure I do this every time. Okay. I promised you guys. I told you. I was bringing him back on the show. You asked for it in the chat. Sean, I think it was you. Yeah, because you're all excited about the WNBA. We are going to talk some WNBA. There's only one game on the slate tonight, but I'm definitely going to ask this next guest about how you guys can do this on your own with finding edges in the WNBA market. It is extremely sharp for all you bettors out there, if you want to find some good angles and good edges, it's in the WNBA. It is why you probably can't make a bet for more than $250 on any of these apps, because they know that the books are going to have problems booking the WNBA. We'll also talk some NBA, Western, and Eastern Conference Finals coming up this week. It is the coach himself, Mr. James Young, coming over from Sports Grid. Coach, welcome to the show.
Ariel, listen, I got a bone to pick with you. Don't ever think anytime you. By the way, we did not color coordinate this. I just want to let people know that we did not do this. But anytime you want Coach Young to come on the prop queen pod, I got to say that a couple of times fast. It's my pleasure to come on. How are you?
It is an honor to have you, Coach, especially because your specialty is women's hoops. It's what you've coached for a long time. Before I ask you any questions about the WNBA tonight, just give people some background on your coaching and why people should listen to how good and knowledgeable you are about the sport.
Well, thank you for the plug. So yeah, I'm a long-time high school and college women's basketball coach. Spent 4 years at Monmouth University as a lead associate head coach and recruiting coordinator. I have a lot of ties to women's basketball. A lot of friends in the women's basketball game. I know a couple of big-time coaches. So for me, it's a little bit differently. As someone that has coached the sport and obviously still trains a lot of top players in the Jersey area, a lot of top guards and forwards, I kind of have a little bit of an inner working knowledge of the league. And really, folks, it's a league that I don't think the books know how to really handicap. They base it a little bit on, maybe what they think, what's happened in the past. They don't really look at analytics. They don't really look at how things are different. For instance, like the impact of a Natasha Cloud going to New York Liberty, what an impact I thought that was going to make for a team like that. How a team may struggle with young players like a Paige Beckers going to the Dallas Wings. How the Phoenix Mercury may be better than people think because of getting Alyssa Thomas and Satu Sabali. So hopefully I'll be able to come on with Ariel a couple of times a week and kind of give a little bit of my betting knowledge when it comes to the WNBA.
We love it because I know from everyone I know out in Vegas, this is the market to attack if you want to make money. It's only been a few days. The league started on Friday, right? WNBA?
Yeah,
so what have you noticed from just the first weekend that people could probably attack trend-wise for the next round of games?
Well, I think it's just you got to look at teams that may struggle. Like, for instance, you can look at tomorrow night, for instance, Las Vegas is laying 12 points on the road at the Connecticut Sun. The Connecticut Sun were decimated after this offseason. Stephanie White went and left the team and went to coach Indiana Fever and Caitlin Clark. DeWanna Bonner is with her with the Indiana Fever. Brianna Jones, is down in Atlanta. Alyssa Thomas is with the Phoenix Mercury. So it really leaves Marina Mabry. Tina Charles comes back. But this is a tough spot. So one of the things I'll tell you right off the bat, lay the minus 12 points. If you look at a team like Las Vegas, a prideful team that really was in the game with the Liberty until early in the fourth quarter, midway fourth quarter, when Natasha Cloud kind of took over the game with Brianna Stewart, lay the 12 points with the Las Vegas Aces tomorrow night. It's a big number. And then obviously you got to look at other things like the emergence of Caitlin Clark. People are going to look at Caitlin Clark and her scoring. Be careful with this, folks, because you have literally between, Caitlin Clark, bringing back Kelsey Mitchell, going to get DeWanna Bonner, having Aaliyah Boston, going to get Natasha Howard. Ariel, that's 5 ladies that can give you 20 on any given night. Maybe stay away initially from the Caitlin Clark's scoring props. Maybe look at assists plus rebounds, double market sneaky play tomorrow night. It's -9 right now for Indiana to get the win over the Atlanta Dream at home. Her double market's like -190. What you should look at possibly, look at FanDuel, player performance doubles. Caitlin Clark, double, which you can get any of 2 to 3 ways, points, rebounds, and assists, and Indiana Fever to win. Now you're looking at even money.
I like that Effie brought this up. He said Clark assists should be a market to attack. What do you think?
Yeah, Effie's absolutely right with looking at Caitlin Clark's assist props. I mean, I took her for a double, and she obviously got a triple-double. So the problem, Effie, is that you're going to look at Caitlin Clark's assist numbers starting to go over to 10.5, 11.5 because of the number of players. And if you watch the game on Saturday versus Chicago Sky, She had 10 assists. They blew like 4 lamps. Like 4 lamps were blown. She should have had about 14 or 15. So that's where it gets a little bit tricky. So that's why I think try to find those player performance doubles, double, and then you get the win. Try to find your way to even money.
There are games tonight on the slate. We have one, not games, just one game. Sorry. The Storm are taking on the Wings. Storm laying 3.5, total 166. You like the Storm -3. Why are you laying the points?
Well, listen, I know that it was a beatdown of epic proportions. The Storm, and it's 3.5 now. So do shop around, folks. Obviously, as Ariel and I are talking, they lost big, 81-59 to the Phoenix Mercury team that I am really, really high on. The game got away from them early. They shot extremely poorly, except for Skylar Diggins. Here's the thing, folks. Dallas is going to struggle this year. Don't look at the name of Paige Beckers and say, oh, they got Paige Beckers. They're going to go win themselves. Paige is going to do great. But you got to look at the fact that you have Paige and Enrique Wambwala. You have a little bit with Melissa Smith. They don't have the front court play. Kiera McCowan only played 5 minutes. She was so ticked off. She didn't even go to the huddle after the game. She just walked to the locker room. She's so damn mad. So to me, I like the Seattle Storm bounce back spots. They're already out in the area, -3. And Yeka Awumake, double, plus 150. Had 7 rebounds in the opening night game, but only played 23, almost 24 minutes. I see an uptick in minutes. Sear getting the double for Onyeka. And then because of the fact that Megaber's going to split time with Gabby Williams, Onyeka's playing time is affected less than Megaber's. Look at Onyeka Awumake, a double at plus 150.
I love that plus 150. We have a question from Daniel. Does Kelsey Plum look profitable being with the Sparks now?
She gonna get buckets. I mean, that's a saying right there. She gonna get buckets, Daniel. Bro, I'll tell you right now. I mean, she had an absolute masterpiece opening night. Now, listen, game number 2, she went against obviously Minnesota Lynx, was arguably one of the best defensive in the NBA, but she's going to have a lot of shots. When you look at the Sparks, it's a 3-headed monster, right? It's Kelsey Plum, it's Tarika Hamby, and it's Rakia Jackson. But the person with the ball in their hands is going to be Kelsey Plum. She's back on the West Coast. Look for Kelsey Plum to have huge scoring nights in the WNBA this season.
I love that when I listen to you speak about this, and I know you love basketball all in all. When I hear you speak WNBA over even the NBA, you hear the passion. Like my passion, people say that comes out for baseball. Yours comes out in the WNBA. I am loving this. I don't think I've smiled so big listening to someone talk about the WNBA before. I'm learning so much. This is super, super helpful stuff. Caitlin Clark, just going back to her real quick. I know that there was the whole issue with her and Angel Reese this weekend. What were your thoughts on the flagrant?
Listen, let me just make sure. Is this like a Disney show, or if I slip a curse word, am I going to get you in trouble?
No.
Okay.
No one pays me for this. I do this out of the goodness of my heart.
And God bless you, girl, for doing it. The whole thing was bullshit. I'll just say it right off the bat. Number one, Angel Reese should have been called for a push-off first. Number two, it wasn't a Caitlin Clark foul. It was a Caitlin Clark stare. But then the stare got Angel Reese to turn around and overreact. And the whole thing, folks, is an overreaction by everyone, including the referees. But I get it. They had to get the game under control because it was getting bad, and they were probably nervous based off already the history that's taken place between Angel Reese and Caitlin Clark. But here's the crazy thing about it. You know who's happy as hell right now? The fucking WNBA. Why? Because the game is 48 hours ago, and we're still talking about it. It's a big story right now. So the WNBA, who does so many things wrong with their scheduling, they got it right. What did they do? Friday night, one of the top 5 stars in the league, and Paige Beckers, put them on Friday night. Saturday, what do you have? 2 premier franchises, Vegas, New York. First game. Second game, biggest rivalry, obviously, between Caitlin Clark and obviously Angel Reese. But at the end of the day, that's what they wanted. They wanted ratings. They wanted people talking about it. And WNBA, mission accomplished. Remember, folks, they're probably going to go to a lockout after this year with the WNBA. So let's enjoy the season while we have it this year.
I love any kind of rivalry like this. I know that Angel Reese gets a lot of blowback for her end of the rivalry because she's kind of the villain and Caitlin Clark's the hero. But look at Trae Young in the NBA. He embraces that at the Garden. He even tweeted out over the weekend, Trae Young, that Oklahoma City Thunder fans are louder than Knicks fans come at him. Like, you got to embrace the rivalry, coach.
Oh, it's all part of it. I mean, it's what do they call it? Cinema, right? It's cinema, and part of a league like the WNBA that's trying to get people going to their games is, think about it, folks. It's a summertime, right? Ariel's in New York City. I'm in Jersey. I spend as much time at the beach club drinking as much beer as possible on the weekends and the weekdays. Catch me out there if you can. But my point is that they got to find ways, Ariel, to get people to get viewership.
Yeah.
Viewership is big for them. Ratings are big for them. Remember, folks, the WNBA is yet to turn a true profit in 25 years. They're banking on this year being another jump in ratings. They're off to a good start. But the main thing I want to say is when this lockout happens, you got to take care of the players. The reason why you have a lot of college basketball players not leaving the college basketball on the women's side to go to the WNBA, and I know that from speaking knowledge, there are kids in college basketball that are getting close to $1 million in NIL. Why would they leave to go to the WNBA to make $75,000?
Maybe the WNBA has to follow the NIL scale and do something that way. Because if anything, it makes more sense for the pros to get the money than in college. But let's stick with the pros. I want to go back to the NBA because we do have the Eastern and Western Conference Finals coming up tomorrow and Wednesday. You had stuff on the Knicks that you were looking ahead to in the market. First, Karl-Anthony Towns to have the most points in the series with the Indiana Pacers. That's interesting, coach. How come Cat's going to have a huge series?
Well, Ariel, you go look at the stats. Karl-Anthony Towns averaged 30.3 points per game versus the Indiana Pacers in this regular season. And I don't look at anyone on Indiana that's going to be able to stop him. I think you put someone like Pascal Siakam, he's too small. And I think, honestly, at the end of the day, Miles Turner, as much trash as he talks, he don't want that smoke. So Karl-Anthony Towns, who actually would score. And if you think of the other side, Naismith, right, Nemrard, McConnell, Rick Carlisle's going to throw guys at Jalen Brunson to get the ball out of his hands. I actually like Karl-Anthony Towns. It's about, I think it's 4-1, 5-1 to lead the series in most total points. Remember, folks, it's not points per game. It's total points in case there is some kind of injury.
The Knicks also have home court, so for them to be able to be at home, the Knicks numbers do look better at home offensively. Yet defensively for Josh Hart, you're looking at him for most rebounds in the series. That's interesting. That's got to be a decent payout.
Yeah, it's about 4-1, 5-1. It's kind of moved down a little bit, Ariel, when I saw it. I think it was at 6-1 yesterday. Here's why. I kind of was thinking about this with the series with Boston, right? But Porzingis was not himself, and he did not play a ton.
He wasn't breathing. I was so annoyed with him.
Yes, he was not breathing. It did not look good, and let's hope he gets well. Jason Tatum gets well. But I got to say, the whole bullshit about Jaylen Brown being hurt and you saying it. Can we stop announcing guys, oh, they played through this injury after they get knocked out of the playoffs? Can we tell us while it's happening? Kind of seems a little bit like a cop-out. I'll get off my soapbox there. But
I'm going to put you back on it after you now analyze this, but continue.
But when you talk about Josh Hart, one, Ariel, he's a rebounding demon. Usually they put him on the worst guard, the one that can kind of fly in and go get the rebound. He has the ability to get the rebound and lead the break. But here's the biggest part. Karl-Anthony Towns is going to put up big numbers. He's going to be guarded by Miles Turner. Miles Turner is a pick-and-pop three-point shooting big. So that means a lot of times Cat can be out of position, right? Then you have to look at the fact that corner three with Pascal Siakam, if they go double big with Mitchell Robinson and Cat, it gives Josh Hart the ability to fly in and get the rebound. It's paying 5-1. Hey, I'm not telling you put your mortgage payment. I'm not telling you put your $529 plan for your kid's college fund. Just saying a couple of bucks. Josh Hart, most rebounds in the series.
Interesting. I like the payouts. I want to go back to the injuries you were talking about in the playoffs real quick. Aaron Gordon had the hamstring injury. We didn't know his status going into Game 7 against OKC. He comes out after the game, after Denver loses. Gordon says, I wish we had more than one day in between games. I'm sorry. It's been this way for forever. Major League Baseball players play 3 games in a row. You're in the playoffs, dude. Like, man up. It really annoyed me hearing Aaron Gordon try to make an excuse because he got hurt. His hamstring hurt him. What, 1 day extra is going to help your hamstring, bro? No, it's not, because hamstring injuries, like Steph Curry said, are very difficult to deal with. It's the playoffs. I mean, like, aside for football, everyone only really gets a day off in between if you play basketball.
There's just the problem with the NBA, Ariel, is they're wildly inconsistent in what they do. Think about this. Game number 7 of the Western Conference Finals was Sunday. Well, why are the Eastern Conference Finals on Wednesday? Unless there's a concert at MSG that we don't know about, right? The Western Conference Finals are starting on Tuesday. That doesn't make sense. I will say this about Aaron Gordon. I think there should be an extra day of rest, ready, only as they change cities, particularly between games 2 and 3.
So 2 days off between changing
games
cities.
2 and 3. I don't know if I would do it for every game after. The problem with the NBA is the NBA goes 2-2, 1-1-1. Back in the day, they used to go 2-3-2. So if it was 2-3-2, right, I would say give them an extra day off for a travel day, right? But to me, I think the only time you do that, play game 1, day off, game 2, then go day off, game 3, and play it that way. The only time I maybe give you an extra day is when you change cities for 2 games. I wouldn't do it just for 1.
I think it was an insane comment. You're getting paid millions of dollars. Man up. It's the playoffs. This is what you play your entire year for. Getting that extra day off is not the reason you lost. You lost because you lost, and OKC has been amazing this year. We've got the conference finals all set. You've got OKC going up against Minnesota. You've got the Knicks going up against the Pacers. Who's going to the NBA Finals, Coach?
Well, it's very easy for me to pick with my heart, and I should pick with my head. That's okay. I'm picking with my heart. The Knicks are going to the NBA Finals. I think the Knicks go to the NBA Finals in 7 games. I think it's going to be a fantastic series. I'm just giving the Knicks the advantage because of home court. I know they lost and gave 130 points last year in Game 7, but you got to remember that game, Mitchell Robinson was out, Julius Randle was out, Josh Hart had the abdominal issue, OJ Anunoby tried to gut it out, then obviously Jalen Brunson broke his hand during, the second quarter of the game. So I think the Knicks find a way to get there in 7.
It's a revenge spot.
It's a revenge spot. It's a revenge spot for a hated rivalry that if people are not from Indiana or New York, we fucking hate the Pacers. And anybody that's a Pacer fan, don't talk to me until the series is over. And if the Pacers win, don't talk to me till the start of next season.
Sean thinks that it's bad juju that the Knicks fans attack the Pacers fan.
I think the only thing worse than that is the fans that were win after Wendy walking to the hotel. Like you guys are gonna throw stuff and cuss out Brian Windhorst just because he's wrong? I mean, shit, he's wrong a lot, and I don't get after him about that. So that's okay. But listen, as much as I can't stand Tyrese Halliburton, shout out to Tyrese for flying that fan out. He's gonna fly the fan out for Game 4. As much as I can't stand you, I like that. I think it's a class move by Tyrese to take care of that fan. Western Conference. I'm going to be a little bit contrarian. I'm going to be a little bit different. I think this is over in 5. I think this is a bad matchup for Minnesota. Bad. Minnesota was able to capitalize on both the Lakers and the Warriors due to their size and their ability to defend. Well, you got a team that's just as big, better defensively, and got way more offensive firepower they can hit you with, and they got the home court advantage. Give me the Oklahoma City Thunder. Ready? Go minus 1.5 games. I wouldn't mind if you went minus 2.5 games at plus money. They get this in 5, maybe 6, but I like them in 5.
Well, it tells you by the odds. When you look at the odds and you see that the Knicks are only favored at minus 148 over the Pacers to win the series, then you look at the Thunder, they're minus $3, like minus 340. I saw minus 350 to win the series. That's a huge discrepancy for a conference final.
Yeah, it is. And it's obviously because of the fact that Oklahoma City has been the best team in the NBA. I know Sean in the chat just said he calls upset Minnesota. He did make one point that you could look at is you could get he's going Minnesota. You can get a gentleman's sweep here. Ready? If you want to try and get it at a better number, maybe you get a little bit of a rest fatigue or emotional high of Game 7. maybe OKC, who did drop game 1 to Denver, maybe let them drop game 1 and then jump on OKC. Then you'll obviously get it at a much better number if Minnesota is up 1-0.
Here's what I'm going to tell you. I think the Knicks are going to the NBA Finals, and it has nothing to do with basketball. If the Pacers play either team from the Western Conference Finals, the NBA is going to jump off the GW bridge. They will hate that NBA Finals. It has been an amazing NBA playoff. I've had a lot of fun watching it. It's been entertaining ever since the first round. I mean, we have seen great basketball.
Yeah,
and
I agree.
If it's Minnesota and OKC, one of those two, especially OKC versus the Pacers, as much as from a basketball perspective, we know that OKC has been the best, a random Joe Schmo who doesn't really tune into basketball is probably not watching that. But if you've got New York City, you don't care who the hell's on the other side of that Western Conference Finals.
Well, a Knicks team that hasn't been to the NBA Finals since 1999, hasn't won a championship since 1973. Folks, I know Boston fans, you can play, you guys are celebrating. Do you understand how bad the fucking Knicks have been for the last quarter century? Like, let us have this moment. If the Knicks win the Eastern Conference Finals, it's going to be worse. And my good friend Ariel, who lives in New York City, I'm telling baby girl now, if the Knicks win the title, you better get out of the city. They may burn that bitch down. I'm telling you, they've been talking about building a new arena for MSG. The fans may give them a head start if they win it in New York City.
I was on 7th Ave after they won the series, and I never felt more unsafe. I feel safer in the Bronx when the Yankees go to the World Series than I did in Midtown. It was mayhem.
And I think I'll leave you with this, Ariel. I don't think people understand this, right? Like, when you think about sports, right, in New York City, okay, Yankees, Mets, let's say it's 60-40 Yankees to Mets fans in New York City, right? So you have that. The only teams, hockey, not enough people care, right? Football, it's probably 65-35 Giant Jet. But who gives a flying fuck about the Nets? It's a Knicks town. It's a basketball city. If the Knicks win a title, holy shit, be someone. I'm telling you, public service announcement. If the Knicks win the title and you're in New York City, good luck. Coach Young will be nowhere near the city. I'm in the Jersey Shore, and I may go down to South Jersey because I'll be so scared for my life if the Knicks win the title.
Yeah, that'll be a hell of a parade. Coach, thank you so much for coming on. I got to go talk some baseball now, but appreciate you so much. I will definitely be bringing you on a lot more throughout this summer because we're going to talk NBA. We've got to talk WNBA. Everyone in the chat absolutely loved your WNBA talk. I'll see you soon, and good luck tonight.
Thanks, Ariel. Everybody have a good night.
Baseball time. I've got, let's see, what do we want to do? Fishy lines. I'll do fishy lines, and then we'll go to, okay. I'm just talking out loud. Bad, Ariel. Fishy lines. I'll start with the less ugly one. Mets, Red Sox. This is your typical Sunday night baseball fade. I saw the line move from -142 to -132 on the Mets, despite the public all over the Mets. After the loss yesterday to the Yankees, they lost the series. They've lost 2 in a row. After Sunday night baseball, you always see sharps love to attack the team that played the night before that now has to go, especially on the road. Mets are on the road in Boston. If the Mets don't get length out of their starter Kodai Senga tonight, it could be an issue with their bullpen. A lot of arms were used this weekend by the Mets in the Subway Series. The Red Sox do hit better at home. They're averaging the 5th most runs per game at just over 5 runs a game when playing at Fenway Park. The Mets bats have completely flamed out. They've averaged just under 2 runs a game through their last 4. The Mets, they are hitting 138 with runners in scoring position in those last 4 games. Fishy line of the day, the less ugly one because there's 2. I would stay away from the Mets at least tonight. If you want a dog, Boston maybe, but starting for the Red Sox tonight is Hunter Dobbins, who has been and the Red Sox bullpen's not that rested. So my play would just be to stay away from the Mets tonight. This one's also, I am sorry. I have to tell you guys, though. It's kind of like when Pascal Siakam and Christian Braun and Pods kept not hitting their props, but I had to keep telling you about the trend because it was just like due to happen at some point. I just have to tell you about this. The line moved 25 cents in favor of Colorado overnight. In fact, the line moved about 10-15 cents in favor of Colorado overnight, then continued to move 10 cents in favor of Colorado this afternoon. I always tell you, there is a lot of times where the sharp groups, like Yanni the Greek will tell you, the sharp groups on baseball will buy, get a number so low that then they'll come back on the other side. We see it a lot with the Dodgers. We did not see that today with the Phillies. I mentioned it before. Shawn Michaels right. Kyle Freeland actually has very good numbers against Bryce Harper and Kyle Schwarber. Just those two alone, I put it in the Prop Queen Pod newsletter, or excuse me, the PropQueen.com newsletter. Bryce Harper's hitting 185. 5 for 27 with 1 home run, 7 strikeouts against Kyle Freeland in his career. The reasoning behind this is, first off, game 1 in altitude at Coors. Phillies just played yesterday at home. Now they had to travel to the West Coast. They have to stay in the altitude. It's game 1. Sanchez did have a start against Colorado in his first start of the season, but that was in Philly, and he pitched very well. Allowed 1 run off a home run, 5 1/3 innings, 4 hits. The Rockies getting to see him a second time through, and they're at home. Like, maybe there's something to the second time seeing a pitcher, but I really do think that it has something to do with first game in altitude, travel, the Phillies not great numbers against Kyle Freeland. Just stay away from the Phillies today. No, nothing to do with the Colorado Rockies. What a horrible team. I've got some overs and unders to tell you. So some overs today that you could look at from a matchup perspective. Kike Hernandez, not a lot of at-bats, but 4 for 9 with double and a home run against Spot. Conforto, 3 for 9 with 2 home runs against Spot. Jake Bauers, 3 for 9, doubled, 2 homers against Kramer. Nico Horner, 5 for 8 with 2 doubles against Cabrera. Chapman, 5 for 9 with a double and a homer against Bubich. Steer, 375. 6 for 16, 3 doubles and a homer against Mitch Keller. Unders you could look at. Stephen Kwan, not good numbers against Bailey Ober. Bryce Harper, not good numbers against Kyle Freeland. Matt Tace, 1 for 12 with 8 Ks against Castillo. Will Benson, over 10 with 6 Ks against Mitch Keller, which is crazy because Will Benson, I have numbers on Will Benson. I put this in the PropQueen.com newsletter. Will Benson is on fire right now. He's homered in 4 straight games, hitting .423 with 5 home runs and 11 ribbies in 9 games, 8 starts since being recalled on May 9th. So it's very interesting that Benson, who might have some inflated numbers because of how good he's been playing, is over 10 with 6 Ks against Mitch Keller in his career. Javi Baez, 3 for 26 with 14 Ks against Sonny Gray. Yikes. Some other hitters props. Actually, I've on the PropQueen.com newsletter, if you subscribe to basic or premium, you could see it a little after 6 o'clock. It comes out, and I have a lot of different players on the newsletter tonight that are on hot streaks. What I just showed you were batters that have good matchups with the starters they're facing. On the PropQueen.com newsletter, I also added players that are on like massive hot streaks right now, so you could check that out. Also got the most bet on props of the day according to BetMGM. This is propaganda. The most bet on props of the day according to BetMGM. Kyle Tucker over a home run. Brent Rooker a home run. Francisco Lindor over 1.5 total bases. Freddie Freeman a home run. And Pete Crow Armstrong a home run. Pete Crow Armstrong is in the PropQueen.com newsletter. He is 8 for 14 with 2 triples, a home run, 8 ribbies, and 16 total bases this weekend against the White Sox, hitting leadoff. Pete Crow Armstrong, he's 12 for 29 with 6 extra base hits, 3 home runs, 11 ribbies this season. He's 7 for 21 with 3 home runs in 6 career games against the Miami Marlins. So Pete Crow Armstrong is on fire right now. The thing that I thought was interesting, and people should look at this market, whether it's runs scored or RBIs, that's always such an intriguing market that you could try to bring into your offensive player props. Feel like you get good value on them. You could notice, like I see with all these players on hot streaks, it's not just about total bases, it's about runs scored and ribbies. So something to keep in mind there. I do have a best bet of the day, but I feel like there was one other thing I wanted to mention, and now I don't remember. Oh, well, okay. It'll probably come to me, but these are my best bets of the day. It's actually just one. I just like one play today. Royal Lux. Royal luck of the day. We are going with the Pittsburgh Pirates starter, Mitch Keller, to go over 5.5 strikeouts. I only like when Mitch Keller's at home, so that's what drew it to my attention against the Reds tonight. Keller's faced just one high K rate lineup this year in his 9 starts. It was game 1 of his season against Miami, where he only punched out 4 Marlins in 6 innings. Last season, Keller had good numbers strikeout-wise against the Reds. Had 7, 6, and then just 1 strikeout in his last start against Cincinnati. But 7 and 6, and 7 in 7 innings at home last year. Righty starters, 19 overs, 14 unders against Cincinnati, averaging just over 5 strikeouts a game. With his good history against Cincinnati last year, strikeout-wise, I would take it over 5.5 strikeouts for Mitch Keller tonight. Didn't love much else on the board, but there are a lot of other trends that you could look at if you go to thepropqueen.com, subscribe to the newsletter. Basic is $8.99. Premium, which you get the morning and the afternoon newsletter, is like $19 a month. And that's where I give you guys all the trends to know, anyone who's hot or who's not, anything that you might have missed from the podcast. It's all in there if you don't want to rewatch. If you'd rather watch than read, then you could go and subscribe to the YouTube channel at Prop Queen Sports. It would mean a lot to me if you subscribe, you missed any interviews. Check out Mid-Major Matt. Check out James Young. James Young came on, Coach Young, and he was talking about WNBA tonight. He was talking about the NBA coming up this week. Great show from all of our guests. Thank you, everyone in the chat, for participating. I hope that you all have a profitable evening. I can't speak now, so it's time to sign off. I'll be back tomorrow, 5 to 6 p.m. Eastern Time, right here on the Prop Queen Pod. Hasta mañana.